Peace, my family, and raw back to all those coming out of that good cocoon for the first time. Welcome. This your girl, the butterfly. We about to take off. Let's fly. Just want to send you all the good healing energy your way. Peace, love, happiness, harmony, and abundance. Hope you guys are out there keeping your mind right in that good non-mind. How y'all feeling? Hope you guys most definitely moving on up. And your higher nature family. And most definitely cleansing. Because you know what's up. We gotta cleanse. That's right. Cleansing. The lows. I came out here today to express how y'all feeling on this good journey with them. You know, when you are, going on this good journey and, in the beginning, you're going through that unknown stage and things are becoming known to you more and more. And you need to learn more because that's what this is about. You first got to learn before you can do, right? And once you begin to learn more of the right knowledge and you're feeding yourself right and getting the proper nourishment that your soul needs, beautiful things will begin to take place in your life in time, in divine timing, and not yours, right? It's all about, first getting your mind right. And with that being said, in time, you begin to see things that you need to see. The confirmation, things that the synchronicities, things that seem to, you can't truly, can no longer, deny certain things on your path. But you gotta be, willing to be, taking the time to slow down and really pay attention to certain things and things all around you. Because, again, my family, Most High is always, trying to get messages to you at times. But it's up to you to be paying attention to it when it comes. And the message is, getting back to the Most High, right? Getting yourself back in alignment with your true self and your divinity. And once you begin to truly see this, like, this is what life's about, leading you back into the right path, getting you back where you need to go, right? And the thing is, all this time, so much has been hidden, but now everything is being revealed. And, this is a beautiful time to be in because we're in that place where, you can no longer say, it's getting to that point now. You can no longer say that you didn't, not know unless you weren't really, wanting to, right? It is here, right? For the ones that, are really seeking and, finding, their true selves. And again, once you begin to see, like, all of this is leading you where you need to be, you have to learn how to trust the path and the journey. It's going to, really, stretch you, right? And get you in a place of discomfort at times, along your path, because this is something that you've never been taught before, may have never been taught before, ever in your life. And don't think that this is something that is wrong when you begin to experience the discomfort, because again, this discomfort is actually a good thing, because at the end of the day, this is helping you to see and move you to a new place in your life. And it's going to start with discomfort. It's going to be uncomfortable. And due to the fact of this, that means that, you're moving stuff around. Just like with anything, you're working on something, it starts first being uncomfortable until it gets comfortable where, you got a good motion on it. It's flowing. It's doing its thing. But at the same time, though, that part where you're in that uncomfort, it could be however that amount of time for you to process certain things that you're, intaking or you're studying and things like that. It's all about how you are processing and digesting things. And that part is different for everyone. But we must understand that all of it is to help you see and open your eyes and expand your mind to the things that the Most High wanted you to know. And it's such a beautiful thing. But at the same time, I know it can be sometimes, it can be a little scary because you may not know, like certain things. But you gotta remember, family, that it's always like that when you're experiencing new things at times. That little excitement, the little, maybe even a little anxiety, certain things, But it's all, stretching you and getting you to that place where, you need to be. Because if you're not moving, the saying goes, if you're not moving, then you're dead type stuff. Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because you have to constantly always be moving, right? And that's what keeps you going when you keep it moving and moving ahead and learning more. And that's how you begin to, help your brain and exercise your brain when you begin to learn and develop more as you begin to learn more of, who you really are in the world around you and these boundless universes. It's real, your spiritual side. So your ether side, right? So once you begin to see these things, and in time you're gonna need to know the stories, right? You're gonna need to know the stories of what happened to our descendants, and that's what's gonna help you see the world for what it really is when you begin to get that, detailed, storyline, right? And that's in the Holy Tablets. You'll find it there. You'll find all the stories in the ancient texts that you need to, again, piece it all together for you. Because this is most definitely needed in these days and times for the people that's really searching for it and really want to know the truth for themselves. And this channel is all about, the truth and putting it out there, put our master teachers' teachings out there. And because you may not know why I'm always saying, the truth, of course there's many truths, but when I say this is the truth, because our culture only moves off facts and science, not opinions, not none of that. That's why I say we only move on truth, right? And this is why I say there's so many truths, right? And once you begin to see this, you will only know these things when you begin to study our master teachers' teachings. You begin to see things for what it really is and not what you want to create in your mind to be. Because, again, when you start creating things in your mind, it can take you to many different places. But when you begin to see in the eyes of the Most High how things are the way He has created things to be, that's what gets you back in proper alignment. And you can use your imagination with all of that the Most High has for you, right? You can get that going when you begin to get that right knowledge that you need, right? It'll begin to help you see and open your eyes, and that's exactly what it did for me. It began to open my eyes, and it was a beautiful experience, and I am beyond grateful. And all praises to Anu, Elmer's glorified and exalted. And once we begin to really see that the Most High is, always working in our lives and always with us, but the thing about it is, we have to begin to pay attention to the messages when the messages come, right? And certain things they try to tell you about the world, and certain things they tell you to stay away from, and it's real, I mean, let's just be for real. Like, things that are no longer good for you, that's really damaging your soul, your spirit, your etheric, bodies and things, The thing about it is, like, let's just be for real. Tell you something good about, taking care of yourself. Like, that's everything that you need and more, right? Because people think that when you're, tapping into this spiritual part of yourself, that you need to be, doing all these, artificial things, coping mechanism things to go reach this, higher high, or, you know what I mean? And let me just tell y'all again, the high that you get on this good journey within is all natural. Family is a natural high, which means there's no artificial substances, right? Okay, let me just say that one more time. It's no artificial substance going to get you to that high. You're naturally, without no artificial substances, in that pure state. As you move into that purified state of being, you won't need nothing. You will already feel all the high you would ever want to feel. I'm trying to tell y'all. And you don't need nothing to try to put you to that high, or put you on a vibration or a certain frequency. If anything that you need that gets you to like using certain things that have you out here hallucinating and doing all these things like mushrooms and things like that. I'm talking about those special mushrooms. I'm not talking about the ones that you actually eat for foods. I mean, you know what I mean. But you know what I'm saying? I see a lot of stuff on these, as I scroll through sometimes, and I see, a lot of things that people be trying to do to, reach certain highs, right? And I'm just telling y'all that, being at your, purified state is at the highest state, because again, don't you think the Most High will give you that high that you will always need and ever want, right? To build that up though is, about tapping into those energy sensors, which is, those chakras and things where you begin to, feel the energy from within. But that takes time, and it takes that inner working. And many people may feel like they don't want to, put in that inner working, right? But that's what it's going to take to tap into, right? You're going to need to tap into, those energy sensors in order to, feel certain energies, coming up out of you, right? And it's a beautiful experience as you begin to open and balance. And as you begin to go through, starting from the root on up to the crown, right? You begin to see, a beautiful thing take shape when you're going into transforming yourself. And it starts there, right? And once you begin to see these are ancient teachings in ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, Temeray, right? These are things that we were taught that we once knew. And it's now time for you all to remember, to connect back to your divinity, right? To connect back to the Most High, to connect back to the heavens, because that's what they really are, heavens, right? The non-heavens and beyond, the boundless universes, right? That's what it is. And how you do that is by how you nourish your body. And in ancient culture, we were all about purity, and it's a way we took care of ourselves, right? In a state of being, and how we move and how we lived our life in the Most High ways, in the laws of Maya. And once you begin to see its higher forms of existence, higher planes of existence, right? Once you begin to see that you've been living the Lord your whole life, right? And you begin to see that it's more to life than this. When you want to work your way back up, right? And them lower planes will have you, tugging on and pulling on things that you're constantly going to be feeling like you need and you want. And you're never going to be truly satisfied. Realizing that what you're pulling on is actually destroying you, right? The little highs that people get out of life is the things that's actually destroying them if you really just take a look at what you're putting into your body, right? And when you begin to move off certain energies, like even dealing with people, places, and things, the less of it all, right? It all leads you toward, or instead of being bound to certain things, right? And it's about having control and self-discipline over certain things. Family, again, that force is used for what it is, which is procreation, right? And that's it, right? That whole, I want to, do things with it and be and doing all this, all these different things in this particular plane of existence, in this physical plane, will lead you astray. And you're constantly be out here lessening and you'll be, moving toward the path of self-destruction, because that path takes you to getting ill, right? diseased, right? When you begin to move on that type of stuff, right? And you begin to lose yourself in it all, and you're attached to Lord entities and things, and it just leads you down, all of it leads you down a path that you do not want to go down. But again, family, due to us learning, in this particular life about, oh yeah, in the world they say we can do whatever we want, and all of that. Where is that getting people these days? I'm just saying we have to be truthful about things. Where is it getting people these days? Experiencing things that you don't wish on nobody type of stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like, where does it stop? You know what I mean? And that's why it's very important that we begin to, have, right knowledge, the higher knowledge of things, so we can begin to move in a higher life within our higher self. Because that's, family, where truly people really want to be. But people feel like maybe they don't have the discipline for it. But you have to work your discipline up. You got to work your way up to that discipline part of you, right? Just like you discipline yourself to get things done in life that you gotta do, you also gotta discipline your spiritual side of yourself, because that's really the real you that really wants to come forth. But you have to begin to want to allow it to do so by, your goals, your habits, and your actions, your thoughts, words, and actions. All of it is, interconnected when we begin to move a certain way. And it's all about making sure that you speak in life, you speaking positive things onto yourself instead of, negative, right? If you gonna sit here and say you feel like you can't do it, and you speaking that to yourself out loud because it's power in thought, right? You're saying you can't do it, then you won't be able to do it if you feel like you can't do it by you speaking it out, So that's what this is about. You have to begin to reprogram, rewire your mind, and begin to speak beautiful things onto yourself. Because again, family, that's where it all begins. You can do this, right? You can. You just have to begin to create a plan and set goals, just like you set goals in anything in life. Everything begins to start to, come together in time. And this is not something overnight. You got to constantly be feeding yourself positive things, listening to positive things. What do I mean by positive? Positive messages, right? Not listening to things that keeps you on low vibrational frequencies and and not positive, but in bad messages, right? That's what it is. You gotta start listening to things that feed your soul, that feed your spirit, good things. And again, that's why some people may feel like, okay, why do you listen to, gospel and things like that? Well, our master teacher also listened to gospel and things like that at times, and sometimes it's just that motivational factor as who you serve in, in that all, and begins to the positive message of it all is just what it is to motivate you throughout the day. That's just what it is. And any other things that you might hear that can help you to get those messages going for yourself. Like, it's all about what you tune into and what you listen to, and that's it, right? So you feeding yourself the right knowledge, you feeding yourself, the things that you need. You're listening to our master teacher's voice. You're listening to what he has to say. You're taking heed to the words. You're doing your research. You're checking stuff out. You're looking at things. All these things matter, right? And all these things will help you to, get you back into, right? Once you begin to really take it all in, right? Like it's the treasure that it really is. Because, and, eliminate the noise. Because that's why it's so important that you have to learn how to get by yourself, because you're going to be by yourself on this journey. You might as well learn how to be by yourself at times, because again, creating that relationship with yourself and the Most High is going to be very important on this good journey within, because you're going to realize, in this journey that it's going to position you that way so you can begin to get all that you need and, you know, recenter and, you know, gain access again. So it's gonna really be, you know, a thing about, you know, spending time with yourself and, you know, becoming your own best friend. Because again, like I said, many people will not understand all that you are going through on this journey within, and that's okay. And you gotta let people go and live their life, right? And you live yours, because you know what the Most High is showing you, and you know what time it is, and you know what's up and what time it is in these days and times that we're here on this planet. And you about, you know, transforming yourself, right? And getting back in alignment. And family, that is what it's all about. And yeah, it's gonna be needed for you to be comfortable in that space. And if you're not, question mark, why do you feel this way? That means you need to spend more time with yourself and less time with running from yourself. That's all that it is. Because again, when you begin to point out why you feel in a certain way and why this makes me feel uncomfortable, that's something for you to view and examine within and begin to do it. Because that's how you begin to face it, right? Face yourself. You begin to do the things that you fear, right? You got to begin to face that part of you. Like, why am I feeling like this? You know what I mean? And begin to actually do it to see. And I'm not going to sit there and say that at first it's going to feel comfortable, right? It's going to feel very uncomfortable. But as you begin to spend more and more time with yourself and doing things that takes you outside of your comfort zone, doing more things with yourself, doing activities alone sometimes, just spending time and building that relationship to hear your own voice again, that's a part of the process of transformation, right? It's going to require you to, you know, step into your true self. And it's going to require you to do that alone. I'm just telling y'all now. Because it's a beautiful thing. Because that's how you gain your connection back. And I promise you, in time, you're going to enjoy the time that you get by yourself. I'm just telling you, you're going to enjoy those moments. You're going to feel that silence, which is peace. It's going to be like, man, oh man, what was I doing before? What is going on, man? It's gonna feel like, man, it's a beautiful thing. So you must remember, family, you learn and you grow, and you begin to be who you are. As you go along the journey, you begin to see yourselves as you begin to walk the journey for yourself. Remember that. So keep walking. It gets beautiful, family. I'm just telling y'all. The journey unfolds like no other. The Most High has beautiful things for you. Continue to keep walking. Alright now. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Again, my family, hope you all know that you are loved so much beyond this world. Oh yes, and in it. Begin to spread that love, family, one to another. Be the peace that you seek. Release a master teacher, Dr. Malachi Seer L. Peace, salam, ashuk, divine love, family, and what do? And it's all love.